Welcome to the Daily Grind. My name is Kelly Johnson, and we are on episode 11 already. Super crazy. It just keeps on getting better and better. I think this is the best episode yet. And just wanted to follow up basically on last week's episode, touching base with Kim, Kooky Runner. Just wanted to clarify on one of the things when I was listening through the episode was she's actually from Connecticut. She doesn't live in Chicago, but she's just in town for the Chicago Marathon. So just want to give a heads up and follow up with any feedback and questions and comments I had via social media in regards to last week's episode. But this week's episode is definitely going to be a unique one in regards to I'm going to be your one only host on the Daily Grind. I'm recording on October 11th. So I'm a day late in sending out your weekly Thursday release, but it's better to save, build up suspense. And this week I don't have a special guest on, but I want to record an episode about and give you a recap on my Steptober challenge. So I know I mentioned this with the episode with Brian, the breakdown with Brian in regards to, or I was thinking about it was basically the day of we record the episode, or the day after. I started my Sober October challenge. So, Sober October challenge is basically, I don't know if I gave you the rules and regulations, since we talk sports a lot on the Daily Grind, but basically the rules are 30 days of alcohol free, so includes basically anything with alcohol in it. I do have the ability to take one single 24-hour pass, but I must communicate that to my team basically that's in the Sober October challenge with me. And if I need to extend my end date to make up for that day. So basically that's it. I'm about halfway through the challenge. I started on September 25th and I have until October 25th, so I don't have to worry about interfering with the great old U.S. holiday of Halloween and all the fun events that occur on that day and to celebrate it. So I started a couple days earlier, thus giving it the Steptober challenge. If you listeners listen to other podcasts such as the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan actually does a similar challenge to Sober October. Obviously, I did get inspired by his podcast, but I thought it would be something unique, and I'm always up for the challenge, whether it's physical, mental, or other things that are going on. Because I'm pretty competitive, and I think this would be great to help promote the podcast and also give you guys recap or how I'm doing halfway through this. So with 14 days left, people are like, Kelly, how are you doing? Like, how do you feel? It definitely is a challenge. I will have to admit, I'm a pretty social and active person, and I like to go out with friends and have a good time during the week and on weekends. Also, you guys know that I'm involved in a ton of things. I travel a lot, and I like to meet up and connect with friends, family, and one of the easy ways, or you guys know in general, is to like, oh, let's meet up for drinks. Or if you go out to watch a live sporting event, you go enjoy a adult beverage. So it's been tough. I've not done this challenge before ever. Not for more than a couple days. So 30 days. It basically reminds me of my background is Catholic, so I do participate in Lent early in the year, closer to Easter, but I've never given up alcohol before in my Lent process. So I am still sober. I have not used my cheat day pass, or my 24-hour pass, if you want to call it. I could potentially use it. I bet I'm worried because I still feel like it's early in the challenge where I don't want to use it already, because I'm only halfway through, so that's like 50%, 50% away. So I feel like I'm getting close to the finish, and I'm going to try to be honest, be even more competitive and try to not even use that pass, which is really, really tough. I've been in communication with my other teammates, if you want to call them. One of them has already they snapped me a picture of them drinking wine in wine bottles. So, I've one of my other teammates already used one of her cheat passes in the first week, which is crazy. Um, Definitely craving it because I do have alcohol at home. So it's definitely, you just gotta zone out in regards to that. But I'm looking forward to that October 25th, 26th. So once I'm done with this challenge, I can celebrate Halloween and not have to worry about things. But there are definitely a lot of other alternatives out there. I haven't noticed anything physically or mentally on this. Physically, I bet my liver is healthier at this point. Um, Mentally, obviously, I'm thinking about alcohol or drinks when I'm out, or I'm going out to dinner or eating out or doing stuff socially with friends. I have to gladly or unfortunately turn down that drink. But as you can tell, I'm still energized, still energy level up. Um, but I do look forward to them this month. Um, because it's cool to have like a warm beverage. One of the cool things I like to drink in the month of October is mulled wine or a hot apple cider or hot apple like spiked cider if you want to call it. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, I haven't had really cravings, but I do associate a lot of different things with having drinks like opposites of fun time. So I feel like I could be missing out on certain things or have to kindly decline having a drink with someone. But it's a challenge, and that's why it's Sober October. So that's a little update on the Steptober challenge. So you guys just keep on rooting me on. I'm gonna keep on grinding it out. That's why it's the day. That's why I talk about in the daily grind because it's a grind, all right. So I want to follow up too with all the fun stuff I did last week. So as you recall from last week's episode, I talked to Kim about what I was doing this past weekend, which I went to Wisconsin. So hello, Wisco. I didn't get to go to the football game in person, but the Wisconsin Badgers beat Kent State by a ton. It was like 48-0. Definitely a breeze. This upcoming weekend is gonna be pretty. It's gonna be a challenge. We're playing Big Ten school, Michigan State University. Ohio State beat them. I wouldn't say pretty easily, but with a couple of touchdown field goals, space in between. So we'll see if we can do the same when we host them. So it's also any Badgers out there. It's homecoming weekend, so I would say alumni, like Chicago chapter. I'm gonna try to go to a bar or meet up with some of my other fellow Badgers in the Chicago area. But yeah, Wisco did really awesome last weekend. Follow up also, I mentioned I was doing my long run, which was 10 miles for last week's training. I actually split that in 2 days over the weekend, so to fit with my schedule and to work around the weather. So now that it's autumn, or fall if you want to call it, it's starting to get a little bit cooler out. In the Midwest, we've been having some crazy weather in regards to super hard rain, then misting, then cold, then hot. Last week, earlier in the week, it was pretty humid. I had my AC on for a little bit, but the weekend it actually rained part of Saturday and part of Sunday, so I had to split. I actually did 5 miles on Friday, and I also did 5 miles on Saturday to fit in with me driving up to Wisconsin. So it's kind of tough to. It gets darker quicker at night, so. I didn't pull out. I do have neon like light, these like wrist bendy things that you can attach. It's best you basically wear it for people that bike or cycling at night. They wear them on their legs, but I actually just wear it on my I wear it on my bicep sometimes just to help brighten it up when I'm running around in the city. So I'll have to pull those out sometime soon so I can see at night if I when I get closer to more longer runs during the week. So that's what I did with my long run. I also went shopping over the weekend, bought a new pair of running shoes. Of course, gotta treat yourself sometimes. No, it's very key to get running shoes or get new shoes every so often because um, for me personally, I need when the outsoles wear down, I need to replace them. I wear gel inserts in my shoes, and I've had stress fractures in the past and other foot injuries, so I need to make sure that it's not the equipment or the footwear that I'm wearing that's giving me a problem. So I need to get them uh, when they wear down or they're worn down, even if they look pretty clean. A good rule of thumb for replacing running shoes, if you want to know, they say every 300 to 400 miles, depending on your running style, body weight, surface on where you run. So whether if you run on the road or on the trail or on the track. However, so they say lighter runners you should have more towards the upper recommendation, so more towards 400 miles. Um, Heavier runners should consider replacing them closer to the 300-mile mark. I kind of go rule of thumb. I actually go towards the. I'm small. I'm on the smaller side, so I could probably hold them out longer. But I just play on the safe side in regards to getting replaced on 300 to 350 miles for me. I do a lot of pavement running, so also that's wear and tear on the shoe. Like my best gauge shoe is when you look on the the rubber outsole of the shoe, if it's starting to get smooth and if you lose traction. I think that's best to you should retire them as your running shoe, and then I just wear them sometimes for just a backup pair, just like walking around casually, or if I need to just run in and out of my apartment really quick, grab something, like just run to the store, or just like short things but not used for running. Um, then I just use those casually until they lose a lot of cushioning and on the heel and on the the ball of the foot, and then I finally throw them out or recycle them. I know Nike has a recycling running shoe program that used in the past. Um, that's really great. They have them at some of their select stores, depending on where you live, where you can drop off a pair of shoes. It doesn't cost anything to drop them off. And it can be any brand. It doesn't have to be Nike running shoes or athletic shoes. They can be uh, they could use Adidas, New Balance, Brooks, Asics, whatever shoe you like, and they just have like a bin usually, and you just throw them in the bin, and that's it. And then they ship them off to a different facility where it grinds up the shoe, and then it also usually gets turned into like sport courts, basketball courts, playground surfaces, things of that. So it's definitely sustainable, promotes sustainability and recycling, which is great. And we need not just in shoes, but in other equipment overall as well. So I try to I wouldn't say pay it forward, but give back whenever I can or do the best for the environment uh, when you can when it comes to sports. So yeah, so that's it on the running shoe. Um, Another thing I did over the weekend, so besides shoes, also when I was in Wisconsin, I got to check out I went to the Milwaukee County Zoo. So they had a family free day, which is great to have in Wisconsin. I would say in the Milwaukee area, or two, Chicago has the Lincoln Park Zoo is always free year round. I think that's great benefit for families that live in the area or not too far away. So Milwaukee had a free family day, so I got to check it out. Got to go with my parents, give them some family love. Walked around, tons of families out there, young and old. I haven't been to the Milwaukee County Zoo since January early this year. I did the Samson Stomp 5K. That's a whole nother story, but basically in January I actually had an ankle injury, and they have a 5K run that they offer every January towards the end of the month, and I do it with my dad and my brother. Sometimes my mom comes to watch, depending on the date, if she's busy or not. But do that run. But before that run, I actually irritated my ankle playing tennis indoors. I was hitting with a friend, in Chicago, and I was like going, it was like a lateral movement, or I was going back and forth for a ball, like, and I stepped kind of weird. I knew I pulled something, so I just played out the duration of that, just of our practice, our hitting session. And then I remember later that week, it was still irritating me, so I didn't run or anything. I was just doing cross training. It still irritated me, but the bad thing was I signed up for a tennis tournament. I think the following weekend, and I actually had to. That was my first ever tennis match. I had to retire. I couldn't play. I wrapped up my ankle. I was taking ibuprofen. I was doing all these different remedies to minimize the pain, and I played like, of course, the lady I played. It was like the final match of it. I couldn't close on the first set. I lost like 6-7. It went to a tiebreak. I was up, I believe, and then I couldn't. She was a pusher in regards to, she kept on getting the balls back, but she wasn't hitting any winners. So of course, I was playing on a longer set. I was like, oh, this is so painful. I can't run around and hit the shot. I knew I was trying to compensate for my ankle. So I lost that set, and I had to retire in like within the first 3 games of the second set, because I I couldn't, like, I was like, I'd rather just retire. So I wouldn't say I felt like as a pro, but I know when I see that on TV, I understand, like, would I rather have this immediate pain that could screw me up for later in the year, or retire now so I can rest and recover and have a quicker recovery so I can play right away in the coming months versus be out for the whole entire year. Me, in this case, I didn't have such of a severe injury that I had to sit out for the whole year. Obviously, I'm playing tennis and running right now, but that added on. So I played that tennis tournament. I took second, and then of course we signed up for the Samson Stomp like so early in advance, like a month or two in advance, that I was already starting to go. So in the meantime, I think I had a couple days before I had that run, and I did the whole rice method, ibuprofen, whatnot. I felt decently okay where I could do strides and whatnot, but during that race, like, it just irritated the crap out of my ankle. I was wearing like an ankle wrap, and after the 5K, I had to like hop around on one foot, or just walk very slowly, um, until my dad and my brother finished. And then after, I was in such pain that I actually had my dad pull up the car they have one of the buildings towards the entrance, and I sat on the bench until he came. I had to like hop into the car and then finally get to their house, and oh, it was such a mess. But yeah, the funny thing is, I missed my age group. Like, I was gonna take my age group by 1 second. So I was like, dang, if I could just like hobble, like, been a little bit more fine with the pain, I could have took even home a medal or a trophy or whatever. But oh well. So after that, then I think I just did the rice, rest, recover thing, and I was back to speed, or back to, I didn't run for a while. I took a break from running for like 1 or 2 weeks, and I finally was able to, I was just doing cross training and biking. I was able to get back in the zone, and obviously, I did a handful of like 5K, 10K halves, and then I did my spring marathon in May. So long story short, that was my last time at the Milwaukee County Zoo. So this time at the Milwaukee County Zoo, obviously no running, no snow on the ground, no freezing cold, a little bit warmer. Just walking around. It was cool to see all the exhibits. They just had a baby giraffe born at the Milwaukee County Zoo in July, and so I haven't seen this one since last year, I guess, if you want to say. But it's cool. They have six giraffes now at the zoo, and they built a new exhibit, so you can outdoor exhibit, so you can go pretty close up. Or I'm sorry, 7 giraffes now with this newborn. So you can walk around and get pretty close up to them and get really great pictures. So with all those new smartphones coming up, you can really get close, portrait mode or however you want. video too. And then they did a really great job. The indoor giraffe habitat also is like brand new, so they have like more space to like walk around, eat food, and just like rest, relax, or however you want to call it. They also, since the last time I've been there, they also just built or opened up the Adventure Africa exhibit. So now the elephants have a lot bigger area to move around in, and their indoor facility is great. They can, I think it's sponsored by one or two different businesses. They're also getting a third elephant in to join Ruth and Brittany, the two famous ones at the zoo. This one, Belle, that's going to transfer from the Riverbank Zoo and Garden in South Carolina to Milwaukee. So I'm curious on how they transport those big, larger animals to the zoo or around the U.S. I'm assuming it's just by truck or something. I don't think they can air these guys all around the place. Or maybe they can. I don't know I don't know how big airplanes are in regards to if they have an animal airplane for these larger animals. These guys are pretty big, a couple of tons heavy. But I'm so excited for the 1.6 acre outdoor habitat for them to cruise around in. And now this bigger elephant exhibit, this indoor care center features like more padded floor, sand, and stuff for them to train and do all their like enrichment activities or whatever, however you want to call them. So that's great to see the zoos finally making some improvements, and I think that's great. I think when I was younger as a child, obviously I didn't become a zookeeper, but I think having exposure to animals helped me learn in school in regards to from the science side, so not being afraid to learn more about different creatures and how they are, what their habitat is, and what their purpose is in the world, and how they survive and sustain themselves. If you are not from the Wisconsin area or visiting Milwaukee soon, I definitely recommend Milwaukee County Zoo to check out. It's probably the best zoo in Wisconsin. And it's close by the highway, so it's easy on, easy off, easy to find. So just gotta avoid the current construction, but it's not too bad if you go early in the morning. So that's my spiel on the zoo. Also, I did as a young millennial helping out my parents. I call myself the tech rep or the geek squad or the Apple specialist, however you want to say, at their house, helping them with iPhone questions when they have it, or even just any work questions like Microsoft Office, Excel, etc. So helping with Apple ID, downloading photos. Some stuff's tricky, but you gotta learn on the go. So I offered my assistance to them in return for hospitality. So it all worked out. Also caught up with friends. Over the weekend I went to Bel Air Cantina, which is a great Mexican restaurant in Milwaukee, with one of my past tennis instructor friends, Lauren. We used to teach tennis back in the village of Sussex together. That was one of my instructing jobs I did. I had a couple of tennis jobs throughout my high school summers and college summers. That was great. Also, just talking about tennis, I got to play tennis with my brother in Milwaukee. So the McKinley Park, which is one of the bigger parks downtown in the city, their nets were down, so we just went uphill to Lake Park, a few miles uphill to play for a bit, which is nice. Get outside and hit, because I haven't hit in a while. Just been teaching tennis for USTA Chicago, so it's great to get outside. I could tell. I wouldn't say I was out of shape, but I don't think I've actually played tennis besides teaching since I was out in Seattle or out in Portland, playing at Nike headquarters with Blake. So yeah, it's been a while. I haven't had, my league season is over, so yeah. So now I'm just kind of trying to play tennis here and there when I can, as long as it's nice out and not too cold. Got to catch part of the Lakefront Marathon. They had some of the water stops outside the tennis courts, which is kind of fun. I did that marathon last year, and it's really well run, or it's cool. It's very scenic in regards to you're running towards the end of it. You're running right by the lakefront, so you get to see the water. You get to see Bradford Beach, get to run by those tennis courts, finish by the Summerfest fairgrounds, which is cool. Shout out to just looking, I was curious, Lakefront, the leaderboard. So top male that finished was 2:17:10. So that's a 5:14 minute per mile pace. This guy's 27 years old, Sammy Rotich, that won. And then the top female overall that won was Liz Burkholtz. She won with 2:45:27. So that's a 6:18 minute per mile pace. She's 26, so two younger ones won, which is awesome to see. She's from Milwaukee. The other guy's from Toledo. So shout out to Chris Clark. Wonder if you know him. So that's kind of interesting for the Lakefront Marathon results. Also, my jam-packed weekend, went to the Milwaukee Bucks scrimmage. So it was my first time ever in the Fiserv Forum, which is a great arena that they built, replacing the BMO Bradley Center. It's specifically made for basketball. I believe they do have ice underneath the hard court, but they haven't, my dad was saying they haven't had any like hockey games there yet. Marquette men's basketball plays there, but they just had a scrimmage. So they had just kind of casual warm-ups at the first part of it, and then they had just your typical scrimmage with 4 periods and all. At the end, they had a half-court shot where they partnered a player with a fan to shoot, which is kind of cool. Three of those were made, so 3 of the fans won tickets to one of the first preseason game that they had this week, which is great incentive. I am looking forward to watching a Bucks home game there in the Fiserv Forum sometime. Hoping later this year if I can get tickets. Great facility. Even the outside park too. They have a couple of restaurants and like outdoor area to watch. They have the Mecca, which is a big screen outside the arena where you can watch not just Bucks, but they show all live Wisconsin sporting events, which is really cool. But yeah, today, going back after my just recap on my last weekend, today's episode, I feel like Conan O'Brien when this comedian Kumail Nanjiani he canceled out on coming on to his late night show in July. So I don't know why I watched that episode of Conan. I watch him sometimes when there's just kind of switching through late night programs, but it was interesting seeing how they handled the situation as taping it live. So I just wanted to kind of gauge what I had to come on my first episode going solo, basically, free solo, basically. I don't want to name drop on anyone in this episode that could have been on this week or this weekend. It's just a matter of working kinks out, planning ahead, and making the best possible podcast for you listeners out there and providing the best experience each and every time. So, also heard from you guys that you want to hear more about my daily grind and not just 100% on my special guest. So I think this is a great episode to kind of catch up with Kelly Fast. And first, I want to thank you for wanting to hear more. I'm glad to share more about my story and starting to feel comfortable giving you insight to my crazy, fun, passionate, motivated, goal-oriented person I am. I love to share my story, inspire others out there to accomplish their goals and think about things a different way or provoke ideas or things you may want to do down the road, objectives that you have or places that you want to go, travel or see or whatnot. So definitely this is a great episode, or any of my episodes in general. If this is your first one listening, congrats on listening to your first episode of The Daily Grind. If this is one of your 10th or 11th or whatever number, congrats. That's awesome. Keep it going. Keep on following The Daily Grind with Kelly Fast. Let's keep this a regular thing in your routine. Build it in your schedule like I do. Housekeeping items. I created an introduction to my podcast. So it's basically a short segment to give new listeners a brief bio about me. So I recorded it this week, but it's going to be listed as I'm going to have it released as my first episode, or episode 0, basically. So newbies out there, you can listen to it, or even my regulars too, just listen to what the daily grind's all about. And yeah, lots of enthusiasm and energy into that little introduction. Just saying. So wanna wanna kind of segment over to what's upcoming for this weekend. So what is on my daily grind coming up? So Chicago Marathon is happening in my city. I've had a handful of people, coworkers, friends, ask me, Kelly, are you running the marathon this weekend? Answer is no, I'm not. So I'm training for the Mississippi Gulf Coast Marathon in December. So I'm on, I think, my 5th or 6th week of training. So I'm not one of those crazy people out there that runs marathons every weekend. I haven't built up to that. I'm not ultra marathon by any means. And when I compete in races, or as you know, I'm pretty competitive, I want to do the best I can at the healthiest point for me as I can. And the way to do that or to get a fast time is to train or practice for that competition or sport or event. So for me, in the physical state that I am, I probably could participate in the Chicago Marathon. Would I run the best time? No, but I want to perform the best I can and have a PR, so personal best. And I can do this by doing that 16 week program. So that's why I'm shooting for a December marathon instead. So shout out to all those Chicago marathoners out there on Sunday. Good luck to you all. Weather, it's been a little bit on the cooler side now in Chicago in like the 50s. It might be a little bit windy. I was watching one of the Weather Channel updates, and they're showing like it's not they said originally it was decent weather, but I think it's getting a little bit on the cooler side. So we'll see. You never know. But you just gotta play how it is. You gotta deal with the external factors out there and find a groove and a grind and just go for it. So good luck to Kim, Kooky Runner out there. I know she just flew into Chicago and competing on Sunday. So you got this, Kim. And like I said, good luck to everyone else in the field. But however, I am running this weekend, doing my long run. I have 12 miles. So even though I'm not doing the marathon, I'm still putting in at least half the work of you guys. So I'm doing it on behalf of all those marathon runners out there. So I'm going to try to check out cheer section. I haven't been in town actually since I've been living in Chicago to watch the Chicago Marathon. So I'm going to see if I can 3-2 run, or run 3-2. I forgot what the acronym is. They're one of the running groups out in Chicago, and they have a few stations, so I'm kind of curious to see how the city gets involved in the race. I did have earlier this week, I was doing one of my lunchtime runs. I was coming back to the office, and there was a guy that some news channel guy was videoing my shoes or me running. So I don't know if I was in like a news news update. But it was kind of funny because they're all showing on like Fox, ABC, NBC, whatever news channel. Chicago Marathon is in town this weekend. What do you know about the race, upcoming, etc. And they're interviewing all these people that flew in. It brings a lot of money into the city, which is great for the county. But so yeah, maybe you did catch my shoes in one of the clips. You never know. I couldn't find it. I didn't search too much on it, but maybe you even saw me too. If you did, feel free to tweet me and say like, "Hey Kelly, I saw you." 6 o'clock news, you know. So kidding. So also this weekend, or what's on my daily grind coming up, working on Halloween decorations. Just ordered some add-ons for my costume in the next 14 days away, basically. So looking forward to that day coming up. It's a surprise, so I'm not going to tell you. Give you a little suspense leading in. Also watching the Badger game, like I mentioned before, they're playing Michigan State, so big game for us, Big Ten game for us. And then 2, I think I mentioned this on previous episodes. I'm trying to do yoga once a week since I've been marathon training. So I'm doing yoga this Sunday with one of my fellow yogis, Sneha. She worked at Wilson with me back in the day. besties ever since. She actually is a yoga instructor. I always try to get tips and tricks from her because I'm no, by all means, an expert when it comes to yoga. But it'll be good to catch up with her and check out the Big Shoulders Yoga, which is they're having their grand opening and a lot of different yoga sessions to check out. So that's on my daily grind coming up. I want to leave you all listeners with a word of the day, of course, So my word of the day, motivational quote for this episode is do what you can with all you have wherever you are. Theodore Roosevelt. So you can pull this from any motivational quote website out there, basically. But this famous quote by Teddy Roosevelt, he served as president of the United States from 1901 to 1909. True optimist, and he believed in the value of always giving it your all, no matter what you have or where you are. I want to add on, or what you do, or how's your schedule look, or your daily grind. So do what you can with all you have wherever you are. So that's the word of the day for this episode. Thanks again for tuning in to today's episode. When it comes to sharing my story with you, here's the ways to follow the daily grind. So website is, like I said, www.kjfwi.org/the daily grind. The daily grind is hyphenated, 3 words, so the -daily -grind. You listen on various ways to listen: YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and you can subscribe to our podcast playlist. Check out all the episodes and even leave a review on iTunes for us. Greatly appreciate it. And questions, comments, as always, hit me up on Twitter, tweet at KellyJLefty, or Instagram, DM me as well at KellyJLefty. So until next time, thanks again for tuning in the Daily Grind. Have a great day.